do you guys see? Do you see how it bends with the shape? Can I see that? See how the yellow pencil bends with the shape? Okay. So I'll start with some markers, and I'll do it primarily with grays. I'll put in some reflections.
If you need a cube,
Yeah.
and then you have to reflect the shadow of the cube, how do you know? Do you just develop
Yeah. I mean, the easiest thing to do, I was telling students is, you know, take a piece of paper. I know my shadow, and I used to do this all the time, fake my shadow in, right? And I'm going to bleed through the drawing. But you can sort of see what the reflection's going to do if you have your shadow in there.
So what was your recommendation?
Well, my recommendation is to take a perspective class because they'll do cast shadows. Part of the problem with this class is I can same thing with rendering. I could spend all day on trying to solve perspective problems and never get around to rendering. And I just need to do enough. So some of you guys are in my rendering class, so you know it's obviously you're going to do a little bit better of a job. But the point is, I've got to, and all of us that teach this have to do a little bit of all of it. And what should become very evident to you after your beginning product design classes, you should ask yourself, what do I need to know more before I take the next class if this is something you want to do? Which I would advise take sketching for design, perspective, and rendering before you take the next product class. Because it'll only get more complex, and it's hard. And because the way we teach it, and the reason why we teach it the same way, myself and the other teachers that teach this all went to Art Center. So there's a method by which we learned it. If you went to Stanford, let's say, like if I were a Stanford professor, there would be none of this drawing stuff. It'd be engineering oriented and very technical in nature. So my point is, different kinds of designers will focus on different things. And I'm focusing on the kinds of things that I've done as a professional and the way I was trained. So then the reflection of the shadow is going to be right up on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to create some other reflections in there. Now also, I drew the top. To angle in. And I want to draw a hole in it, or it's a big cylinder, let's say. Do you see how on my marker stroke, when it bent in, it followed the form? Do you guys see that at the top? I just took whatever the reflection was and I followed the form. The form is cutting in. If I want to raise my contrast, okay, so I'm arbitrarily putting in some reflections. I made that much darker to get the contrast even higher, right? Maybe I'll darken up my shadow reflection a little bit. Now, the other thing was I showed you this, right? Do you see how it bends? And that all that means is I'm looking for things that I can put into my drawing that tells me something about the shape. So if I know that something horizontal turns into a U shape,
You will say that that drawing is incomplete without a reflection of an actual.
oh, I could, I could leave it alone and not do that, I could
You
put
say
that
it's
in.
okay.
It's okay, yeah. I mean, already it's starting to tell me something, and if I finish it, it'll look fine. I'm just adding more stuff to, okay, so. And remember, it didn't go all the way edge to edge, right? All the way from edge to edge. Students make that mistake when they do this reflection. So what I'll do, and it's important that you look at how I'm doing this. If you look at that carefully, notice how where it's closest to the object, it's the fattest. And where it goes to the edge, it gets thinner, right? So the way I've learned to do that indication is to hold my marker like this. So it's thin when I come down, and it gets thick because I'm not turning my marker. See how that's thicker? So all I'm going to do is do something like this. I just want to add a little bit more of that. So it may look something like that. And then I'll use some pastel. Luckily for me, we're doing shiny stuff this afternoon or this morning. So I'll add a little bit of blue. And this doesn't make sense at all because I'm drawing this indoor, but blue's a cold color, and steel and chrome tend to be colder. When you don't see it, it actually looks warm in here. But it's one of those visual cues that everybody sort of understands as being chrome. So I may do something like that. And then if it is chrome, chrome is actually not that blue. It's a little bit gray. So the color that we add on top is 244. It's this purplish color. And it'll actually gray down the blue so it looks more natural.
That color is used in combination with the blue one?
Yeah.
Not with, and like, if I do copper, I don't want it to use just 244 on top.
You can use it.
We could use different colors, right? Like, let's say if we want to create like an interesting effect.
When you say you want to create an interesting effect, I don't know what that means.
Like, do you want to use, like, let's say,
Just try.
like, just experiment with
I
it?
mean, what's hard for you asking me a question verbally is I have no idea what you mean. I mean, no matter how well you guys try to describe something, I can't imagine what you're thinking. Like I could right now I'll describe to you a really famous movie star. It's a guy, he's probably 40, he's really famous, he's considered a really good looking guy. Oh, okay.
He's older.
That's actually who I was thinking of. That's surprising. But most of you, when you say good looking, 10 people come to mind. If I say he's a little bit older, then you go, what does that mean, right? Because when I say he's a little bit older, that's different than, to you guys, somebody that's 25 is a little bit older, because it's relative to how old you are. To me, somebody that's 60 is a little bit older. Okay. All right. And if I had a background on here, so let's say I drop in a background. So you were thinking about George Clooney? So if I cruise over to your house, you got all kinds of George Clooney posters in your room. I mean, I thought about it because I saw my wife picked up a George Clooney movie last night. I'm sure that's who she was thinking of. It was Michael Clayton. Have you guys seen that movie? It's pretty good. Okay. The only reflection I'm going to get on that is right on the edge. So I'll put a little reflection of that orange right on the edge. And right on here, I might get, on the back edge, a little bit, because as it rolls around, it may pick up a little bit of that orange. I use my black. Trying to get some of that darkness back in there because the chalk made it lighter, so you'll notice that when I hit that again,
What number is that?
it was a 8. I could lay a black in there. Okay, right on this edge, there will probably be a little bit of reflection that travels on that edge. Something looks something like that. Okay. So, things that you can do also, you can add reflected light to make it more interesting. Since I already have orange down, I can do orange. Don't waste your Weebro pads, just keep on using them over and over. So if there's an orange light coming from that direction, I can get a strong orange highlight on that side, reflected light. So I'm just dusting orange. It just says there's some orange light hitting the ground, and I'm getting that part to be a lot brighter. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. Did that answer your question? Can you keep this? I don't know. Is that fair to your classmates? Do you have a digital camera? Hey man, when this shit goes on YouTube, it's gotta be like. Or how do you flash a gang sign? You guys know your gang signs? Lonnie's, oh yeah, but I'd have to kill you if I show you my gang sign. What happened to Stan? Oh man, he got caught flashing gang signs on his sketch and he got shot.